y'all. So I just quickly wanted to, I'm not going to be long at all, because I didn't write down any notes or anything with all the thoughts that go through my mind as an Aries. It's usually beneficial, but one thing that I think would be, one thing that is imperative to consider on this full moon would be, so we started off with the new moon in Aries, right? Aries is intense, it's about self, can be quite selfish when we're dealing in that energy, right? And it's not that Aries doesn't care, or that Aries energy doesn't care about others. It just doesn't slow down long enough to consider the needs of others. And a lot of the time, it's hard to get past self, not just as an Aries, but, depending on how that energy can be influencing an individual. So with that being said, on this new moon, full moon, consider the fact that we're dealing with Libra energy, right? And so what does Libra call us to do? It calls us to actually consider what others need, okay? If you have a hard time doing that, it may be beneficial to you to actually get yourself a Libra homie. They tend to get on my nerves as my opposite, but I'll tell you, they bring a lot of clarity to me, because I don't think the way that they think. Because again, the focus is on self. So Libra is seeking unification, right? It does seek unification, justice, balance. It deals with the 7th house naturally, and our relationships, partnerships. And so I would say in all things that at this time, a relationship, focusing on the relationship with self is imperative, okay? Because when we start there, instead of looking outward, once we start with mending the relationship with self and having boundaries and that sort of thing, then we can move forward and have prosperous relationships. All right? And I've seen a couple of people state on their timeline, very important right now, and it is. Whenever you have a full moon, it just depends on how it's hitting you astrologically. Do not argue. I, as an Aries, this full moon, and it was new moon in Libra, and we had the Aries full moon year before last. Y'all, it does something to me, and it's so easy to get carried away on that wave of energy. But the thing would be, in this time, if you're feeling the heaviness of wanting what you want at this time, because you might have planted a certain seed during the new moon in Aries, and be gung-ho about it, because that's Aries' initiation. It's the force behind creation, right? So it may be such a deep desire, right? And so we have to be careful not to manipulate or try to dominate others. Aries, this is for you. Mars in Aries, Mercury in Aries, Pisces, your lack of boundaries. So, and not being too dependent on others for our happiness, which is it can seem like a contradiction, being that Libra has to do with others and partnerships and that sort of thing. But how can we move to have relationships with others if we don't have boundaries for ourselves and expectations for ourselves? So be cooperative, Aries. If you're just feeling really intense at this time, it may just go against everything. I know for me right now, being cooperative is totally going against everything that I desire. But it's essential and it's necessary. And being willing to evolve and to blend the energies, So also getting to a place where it's not all about you, willing to even promote the ideas of others, respecting the energy of others, And again, not headbutting our way through. So consider what it is that you sincerely want during this full moon. And keep in mind, too, that whether we have planted a seed on purpose during the new moon or not, there's something that was planted during that time. And right now it's coming, the energy is coming to its fullness. So I advise you to just be careful, be easy, be cooperative. And if you absolutely have to argue, can you wait a couple days? If you gotta bark on somebody, just wait, because if you do it right now, you might blow everything. Catch yourself, okay? Because right now too, it could be the point of no return, because we're at the full moon, and after the full moon, what happens? Hi, Deidre. We're in the waning moon, and we're pushing energy away. And, so that can be scary, especially if there's a relationship that has ended at this time. You may be fighting. Whatever endings are happening during this time. You may be fighting it, but what do we gain going against the grain? Can you really go against the tide? Fight against the tide? Yeah, you can. And what's going to happen? You're going to drown. So instead of fighting the tide, and I noticed in a lot of the readings the other day, the death card kept on popping up. And that's about letting shit die. Just because something dies doesn't mean it's over completely, which is deep, because that's sort of a deep one to grasp, right? So, because there's physical death, and then we have the death of situations and things. And sometimes that can be just as painful as a physical death. But in all of that, there is resurrection. There is rebirth, right? So if we allow certain situations to die, and I am even saying this to myself, a message to myself, because trust me, I need to follow my own advice. So allowing shit to die, whatever it is, so that there can be a new. So just keep that in mind. Don't be a bully. And if you must, just wait a couple days. All right? Or just write it all out. If you're really pissed, just write it all out and don't send the text message. By the time you finish writing, be so aggy and so over it, you won't even want to send it. But hey, Monica. Thank you, Taisha. I'm hungry, y'all. I've been eating this jerk chicken over here, picking at that or whatever. I don't know. But I know and I also see a lot of people's posts talking about how intense shit has been for them. And trust and believe, it's not always just on the day of the full moon. That shit be building up a couple days before. Sometimes you can see it 7 days before, 3 days before. Because, it's the energy is waxing. But I see a lot of people have been quite emotional. And so hopefully after today, they'll be, it'll alleviate. Maybe after tomorrow, tomorrow, because it's coming to its fullness tonight. I forget exactly what time, but Eastern Standard Time, I think it's 9 something or 10 o'clock. So let's focus on healing the relationship with self and having boundaries, compromising, being cooperative, being respectful. Because sometimes I just, as an Aries, and on that wave of Aries energy, and Mars and Aries can probably understand this too, is that I don't care at that point. I don't care. I'm in full war mode. And I will, because there's a lot with Scorpio, how Scorpio stings itself, and it's ruled by Mars as well. How it'll sting itself and spite himself and the other, right? Just like the story of the scorpion and the toad. The scorpion asked the toad for a ride on his back across the lake or whatever it was, the pond. And he said, "Are you sure you're not going to sting me?" He's like, "Well, why would I do that? Because it's going to bring us both down." And what does he do? The frog trusts the scorpion, goes across, stings him, and kind of fucks himself at the same time. So I can kind of operate in that energy, I'll be honest. So sometimes if I feel like, okay, this is not gonna resolve, or this is not gonna get any better, I will fucking blow the whole thing. Like, I'll blow it to smithereens. And then I sit back and wonder, like, damn, like, did I really sincerely have to do all of that? Being ruled by the planet of war is not easy. Being in that Aries energy where we started this brand new year, when we started on the spring equinox, a lot of us could be operating in that energy. For Pisces, a lot of Pisces, your progressed sun. My lighting sucks right now. Your progressed sun is more than likely in Aries, okay? So you can be feeling this intensity too, but are you going to live in regret after? Like, damn, well, maybe if I wouldn't have. Because what happens with the Aries energy too is that it doesn't consider the details. I'm going to act now and think about it later. It's a gift and a curse. Okay? And Aries a lot of the time is going off of intuition and I can't think of the other word, but intuition versus intellect. Okay? So they might be absolutely right about whatever it is that they're feeling and want to immediately act, but you got to sit down and settle the cost. What is the best way to get the desired result? Or do we really want to, blow it all to smithereens and not even have the opportunity for renewal? So I hope that helps somebody on tonight. I think I was going to say something else. But you may feel extremely inclined to make it all about you at this time as a collective, just making it all about self. Well, you're not doing this for me, and I expect you to do that, and yada, 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 yada. And the more that we push and the more that we demand, what we demand from our partners, and we're unwilling to recognize where we're falling short, because that Aries energy is coming to its fullness and it wants what it wants. And it does not want to wait. So, anyway. Sun in Pisces, Aries cusp. I get it. Venus in Aries. Yes. It is intense being in Aries. It is hard. It is a challenge. We make it look easy, We're kind of rough around the edges, but Aries actually benefits from being very straightforward. It's just that we need a little more tact. So, there it is. So you all have a good evening, and I really hope that helped. I do still need a website, Monica. I really do. But with everything up in the air right now, I'm just kind of, wavering, because I'm like, okay, which way is shit about to go before I invest in one, if that makes sense. So there's that. I'm so tired. I'm so alert, but hi Shamika. I'm so alert, but so tired at the same fucking time. Oh please, I can't. Don't mind that. So, and another thing that I recommend that I don't do enough of, that my mother introduced to me back in '88. So after my father had passed, I used to have he was brutally murdered. So after he had passed, I had nightmares. So my mom used to buy me these meditation tapes. But yeah, back then they were cassette tapes, and it worked wonders. And then I see a difference in those who are in constant meditation. So to gain clarity, it would be beneficial to actually take the time daily, even if it's just for a few minutes, to meditate. Because I think it's safe to say we rob ourselves when we're not giving ourselves that time, to go within. So, And there's plenty of meditation, guided meditation exercises on YouTube. So have a good night, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye.